gonna show for it?
What you gonna show?
Might not get no dough for it, might just tell you poor poet.
I might.
If you got a dream, gotta go for it. What you gonna show for it? Might not get no dough for it, might just tell you poor poet.
I'm glad Francesca connected us. I was listening to the album before it released, and I was a big fan, honestly.
Thank you.
I haven't been listening to Lauryn Hill too long, but like maybe like 4 years ago I started getting into her. But that, along with the Outkast influence, kind of like I was really into your sound.
Yeah, I love both of them.
How far back does that go? Have you been listening to them for a while?
Yeah, I grew up on Lauryn and Outkast, a 90s baby, so I really heavily influenced by both of them.
For sure. What made you want to do the Miss Jackson cover?
Honestly, I got into like freestyling over beats this last year. I just do it to like challenge myself and get inspired. I'm more inspired by the 90s sound, and I just threw the beat on, browsing through YouTube and the freestyle because it's Sorry Miss Jackson. So I just wrote sorry, and then I just went off saying all these things that I wasn't really sorry. A lot of sarcasm in that one.
Your SoundCloud is mostly covers, so is that something you really enjoy doing, like freestyling over just whatever's popping?
Yeah, like the covers help me like get in my writing bag, especially if I'm feeling stuck, because I'll build off of whatever the song is about and just do it like a female perspective of it. So it helps a lot, and then it helps get listeners' attention, like going to rapping to beats that people already love. So that's kind of my motive with that.
Cool. And you're from New York, right?
Yeah, I'm from Poughkeepsie, New York, originally.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you stay there still?
No, I've been in the Bronx since 2015. Yeah.
Didn't make my way up to the Bronx, to be honest with you, but Brooklyn.
I know.
That's my place. That's where I'm trying to stay.
Yeah, I would ideally rather be in Brooklyn or Manhattan too, but the Bronx been good to me. I'll be in my own little corner, just in the hometown of hip hop, the original town of rap. So it's cool. It's a lot of inspiration here.
Is the history of hip hop around there very vibrant? Is it like apparent when you're just like walking around?
I mean, yeah, I see it just all throughout New York, especially coming from a small town like Poughkeepsie. New York City is way different, and it's just inspiring, just doing regular things that I don't know. I can't say, but I wonder, do they realize just seeing all the graffiti and all the different cultures that's out here? Like the city is definitely a special place.
It's really like a melting pot, and
yeah,
I don't know. Hip hop kind of embodies that. It's really like a combination of so many ideas and perspectives. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So you're in college still at Hofstra?
No. I graduated college 2015.
Okay.
So with my BA in music, and I linked up with Hofstra 2019.
And they're just like handling like the back end stuff for you, trying to put you on the map type.
Yeah, so it was kind of crazy how I linked up with Hofstra. I actually met the Unispan kids in a studio. It was I think it was Engine Room, and my boyfriend, he does videos, and we were filming Pat Viala. So Pat Viala is a Grammy Award-winning engineer, and that's just like through word of mouth, through friends of a friends. He needed a video done, and it happened to be filming him teach the kids on Unispan about like mixing, like in studio lessons. So I was just tagging along on all the shoots, like I do with all of his shoots. I would tag along at that time, and I got hip to like what was going on, like, oh, it's a school program and they sign artists. So I pulled out, I had a little card at that time, and I'm like, oh, like I'm an artist, like this sounds cool. And they're like, oh yeah, well we have a artist signed right now. So I was like, oh damn, like that shit sounded cool. I never heard of like a college signing students and like actually putting them in the studio and doing stuff for them. And a year and a half later, one of the students reached out to me. She was still in the program, and she's like, hey, are you still trying to be a part of this? Because we have this show coming up, and it was called Labeled. It was a little competition. Me and two other artists competed to be signed to Unispan, and took that home. And since then, yeah, they helped me produce my first EP.
That's dope. And like I feel like it takes a lot to put your trust in like college students especially.
Mm,
like, and you really gotta like put yourself in a position of like these people really want to help me and shit. So it's cool to
right.
see that you took that. You're really honest with yourself. You really humble yourself in your music. Cause I mean, it's really all like close to your heart. It seems like everything that you're saying. It's you're
Yeah.
not like trying to exaggerate or anything.
Yeah, well, that goes back to how I first even started rapping, and that was a tragedy, honestly. I was a pianist. Like when I first got into music, I always loved music growing up, but I became a musician in high school. I just picked up the piano, like an elective class, and I had a gift for it. I was able to read music because, everyone has to play like instruments in elementary school. I think that's like
Okay.
the general thing. Like I played instruments in elementary school, the violin, the recorder. So like I learned how to read music. But by the time I was in middle school, I'm like, this shit is whack. I'm not being a band geek. So I dropped it. But when it came to picking up the piano, like my sophomore year of high school, the teacher was really cool and he seen I had like a gift for it. So he honed in on me and he got me prepared to be auditioning for music college programs. I was wild in middle school, high school. Like I was kicked out of middle school. I didn't walk graduation in middle school. I was kicked out of the high school that I was in upstate New York, and then I got sent to live with my aunt and uncle in Connecticut to finish high school. And that's why I fell in love with piano. It's so crazy. It gets so deep. Like
Yeah.
I really do feel like music is what I'm supposed to be doing. It really found me. Like I'm not one of these rappers like nowadays with social media, especially like everyone wants to rap because it's a meal ticket. It's a way to get rich or whatever. At least that's
Hmm.
what a lot of people think. And it's a lot of hard work. So yeah, I was a pianist and then my first year of college, a really close family friend was killed upstate. And my first song was a tribute to him. Like it's the first time I was ever inspired to rap. And I was actually introduced to Ryan Leslie at that time. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's mainly a producer. Like he can play every instrument. He's incredible. He's a genius. But he's the first guy that I seen playing the piano and rapping. So when
Where
Bash was killed, I made the song called Dear Bash and it was my first rap and I was just nice at it. Like I realized like, oh shit, like
hmm
I can rap.
open up those doors for you, not just piano anymore. Do you still play piano?
Yeah, I do. And I'm actually like on the EP, She Is Me, I produced that whole song. I didn't have anyone
Dope.
on that. That's why it's really simple. I'm getting more in my producer bag, definitely. But yeah, I definitely am gonna incorporate more piano because I think that's another thing that makes me stand out. Like who's out here playing the
Hmm.
piano and rapping bars.
Yeah, yeah, not many people, honestly.
So,
And like I don't want to focus too much on your past because like
mhm,
I feel like this album was kind of you breaking out of a cocoon and moving on to like this new stage of your life
mhm.
with a pregnancy and everything. You're being honest with that, putting that all out there. And I haven't really seen many female rappers talk about that besides like I don't know, Tiana Taylor had that album this year where she talked about it a
Right.
little bit, but is that something you want to like dig into? Like how are you feeling about like having a kid and maneuvering through the music world right now?
Well, now I realize having a kid, nothing can stop me. Because when I initially got pregnant, the first thing I thought of was my career. I was getting ready to sign with Unispan, and I'm like, damn, they might not want to deal with a pregnant woman. But shout out to Sharon, the head of the label, because she did not care at all. She was really supportive. But yeah, the way I approach rap is it really is about my life and it really is a genuine place. Like I don't have no motive to like please people that aren't meant to like that aren't entertained by me. Like if you don't like me, cool. I'm not for you. Like I'm not someone who probably would ever be entertainer of the year or for the masses. If it is, like who knows? Lauren did do that in the 90s. She was number 1 on the charts. It's a really different time now. People generally I feel like again the masses may be into different things but I just do me. Like I have to rap. I do rap from my heart and my soul and I don't think about oh what's cool or what's people gonna vibe to. I can do that but generally my whole purpose is it is like really therapeutic for me and I really be going through shit and a lot of things that I went through and currently go through like having a pregnancy my go-to is just write about it.
And I feel like that's something a lot of rappers miss nowadays. You know, they try to focus on what's popping or like how do I get to the top of the charts, and that doesn't last. You know, it's really staying true to yourself that gets you the furthest and like the
Right.
most. like the
We'll
longevity of your
see
career.
if it will take me where I believe I can go. Sometimes I wonder, like, am I holding myself back because I'm not like leaning
Nah.
towards what's popping? But I think it's just my time will come. I think my time
Hmm.
is definitely coming.
Especially with like, wait, I forget the name of it. The poet. What was the name of the song?
Poor poet.
Poor Poet. Like that shit was beautiful. Like you
Thank you.
destroyed that track. Like honestly, it like what's your process for kind of getting in that bag and like really writing out the raw shit?
It's always an event or an experience happen. A lot of my raps we feel about anger or sadness, and I'm wanting to express what I, whether if it's like to someone's face, like in the second verse of Poor Poet, like I'm like, I know a poor poet, she barely makes ends meet, performing live inspires minds every time she speaks. That's really me. Like I'm talking about myself.
Hmm.
Since I moved out to the city after college, I went to mad little open mics. Poor Poet I actually wrote in 2017, and I wrote it after I was fired from this job. I was working at this Irish bar, and I just felt like, first of all, they fired me for a bullshit ass reason. I just know they didn't like me. Like the issue that I have when it comes to jobs, and that's why I'm a full-time artist now. I just know I have to work for myself because it's just not the space that I need to be in serving others all the time. I need to serve myself because I'm really outspoken and it doesn't work to my advantage when in certain situations. Like I just had a lot of conflicts working in the service industry. Guests love me. The guests love me because I am a really cool, I like to think, humble, down to earth person. But management, I'll just look at them like, oh, okay. And I have a straight face that I think it really gets under their skin. But that's why in Poor Poet, I'm like, serving drinks for money could be sometimes demeaning. They'll treat you kind of funny for no reason. And I noticed like the management there, they're nice when they're with you, they're around me by
Hmm.
myself or whatever, but then let their wives or their family members come around. Like, it's just completely different. I was in an environment where I was feeling like I was being belittled and not appreciated. I'm like, fuck out of here. Like, I have talents
But
and
I
gifts.
mean, hey, like now you're out here. Like, I mean, you want to talk about the film producing because that's pretty dope too. Like, I'm a big cinema buff type of guy, so.
Yeah, so me and my man, we started Project Media actually during the pandemic. He was doing cable, I was waiting tables. Once I got pregnant, I worked up until 8 months of being pregnant. And then after I gave birth, I was just like, I'm not going back there. Like I knew it. I'm like, first of all, I need to do it with this music. Then Corona happened, so we're concerned about him being in people's homes, and he was always doing videos like since 2015. LB
Hmm.
Project is what he goes by. He does every single video of mine, and he's done a bunch of videos for artists, and we've worked from the ground up. I'm more like moral support there. I produce and organize. I give these creative ideas to people, but as far as filming and editing, I take a back seat there. But yeah, Project Media, we launched in July, and since then, yeah, we've been filming artists throughout New York. We filmed artists in Miami, DC. Like we're just on the grind, and just through using social media to book clients and word of mouth, like we've been doing the music video thing. Yeah, yeah, it pays the bills, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
and we enjoy it, and he's huge on the cinema stuff as well. Like he's really, and it's crazy because he taught himself 100%, like no schooling. And we went from working on a little Canon to now we own a Blackmagic cinema camera, and we can just film and provide really high quality visuals to like independent artists at an affordable rate.
So for your videos, is that mostly like, is it a combination of your ideas that really bring it together? Like, do you have kind of like influences that shape your videos? Because I was like really fucking with those, and you got one for like every song.
Yeah, I do. I produce all my own videos. Like I have a vision for myself and how I see myself. And
Hmm.
even with Poor Poet, like I had a whole different vision. Poor Poet was supposed to be filmed right before the pandemic hit. Literally, as New York got shut down and like the whole country, it was like, okay, we have to postpone this. Literally, the week we were gonna film, it's when it all hit. So fast forward to when we're ready to film it again, because also, with Unispan, I have to move on the students' time, and you know, they're in school, then they're off school for like 8 weeks, in school and off
Hmm.
school. So the way it lined up was it dropping with the release, and I just still wasn't comfortable doing, like, I had a whole storyline that I wanted to reflect of what my life really was like when I wrote the record, you know, being in New York, taking the subway, working in a restaurant, like really showing a more like storytelling to the visual. But I
Yeah.
was like, listen, people are just gonna have to see me and hear me and just listen to what I'm saying and see that it's me that it's coming from. And I just made it like super simple based on like the situation and the budget we were working with. And I think it's turned out, you know, it turned out
I think
good.
it came out excellent. Yeah, I really liked that video. That was the black and white one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was dope.
Thank you.
I know a poor poet, she barely make ends meet. Performing live inspires minds every time she speaks. Her mama told her pick a field that's more concrete. Dreams are nice, but you need more stability. Well, mama, I don't give a fuck who not feeling me. Realistic